Hello, my name is John, and I'll be introducing James Burke's television show Connections and how it relates to the modern world. And let me show you the audience that I have. These are my friends. The first one is Jim, and the second one is Bob, and that will be my audience for this little video presentation. Hello, my name's John, and I will be illustrating and demonstrating and showing you information about how James Burke's television show Connection is a very interesting show, and it was produced and directed by James Burke, and it was first aired over 40 years ago with the BBC television network. Now, to understand the television show, I will illustrate specifically one particular episode, and that episode is the 10th episode of the 10th episode in the series. It is the concluding episode, and it talks about the subject of yesterday, tomorrow, and you. And in this episode, James Burke illustrates how the causality of inventions from one point to another, and it also shows how the inventors go through the process of invention. And the interesting thing that James Burke illustrates is actually the purpose of non-causality. In other words, when the inventor invents something, another invention which is totally unrelated to the actual field itself becomes invented from that idea that the original inventor never had. So to illustrate that, James Burke discussed in that episode, he references to a 1965 blackout in the eastern seaboard caused by a single relay. And this single electrical relay illustrated the interdependency of modern technology that we have today. He shows how our society, and we're completely dependent upon how technology works and the continuation of it. And he illustrates interesting questions about what happens when you lose one part of that technology. What happens if you lose power? In Las Vegas last year, we had a power outage that would last sometimes 12 hours a day, and it shows just how interdependent we are on how things work and function. James Burke also illustrates the need of inventions and inventors. Now myself, I am an inventor. In fact, I had filed a patent, a provisional patent, on April 7th of this year called non-symmetrical torque generator. It was a new invention, a new idea, and it was invented originally 400 years ago. But you never know what you invent at the time. And the technologies involved are from one field or non-related to the other field. In the television show by James Burke called Connections, the episode Yesterday, Today, and You, James Burke also illustrates the paradox of new technologies and advancing civilization, and the paradox is the loss of knowledge or the unknown knowledge that you have. In other words, you do not know what this nuclear power plant works. Yet, how can you make an informed decision about whether or not it's a safety to continue operation? You do not have the knowledge to do so, to make that critical thinking. So if you don't have the knowledge, what do you wind up with? You wind up with an emotional response, and you create your logical conclusions from those emotional responses. Now, the episode itself, he illustrates that principle and how inventions that are created are illustrated in a new idea. And society itself has, what's the best word for it? An unknown quality to it. In other words, you never know if society accepts the invention, if society, because you don't know about the invention, would not believe that it actually works. To conclude, in the episode, yesterday, tomorrow, and you can actually watch this television show on the CSN library, and that will give you access to watch the show, and I recommend you do so. Thank you for your time.
I don't think you have the 5 minutes.
I think that was 5 minutes.
It's got 6 minutes.
Oh,